This is Music Radio Creative, episode 100! Hello, I'm Mike.
I'm Izabela.
And welcome to the Music Radio Creative podcast, live on air via a Google Hangout. In this episode, we're going to talk all about podcasting, how far we've come, and where we hope to go in the future. We hope you'll stay with us for the whole live episode.
Absolutely, and we're not really used to broadcasting live, so just need to excuse us if we have any kind of interesting moments.
You've got to remember that we are audio podcasters, so we're used to just having headphones on and talking into a microphone and not looking into a camera, which is very strange. In fact, that was one tip I was given, Isabella, is make eye contact with the camera.
Okay. But look, I've got something very special here.
Wow! 100. And by the way, if you wonder why, obviously if you're listening to this in the future, then you're going to hear the audio version, and we very much appreciate you being there. But also in this episode, we will be interacting live with our audience in the chat room, including Ahmed Spouse, we've got Who's Behind the Mic in there, Ali Carson's in there, we've got Kako in there as well, and just joining in and asking questions. So we're going to interact with you, but we're also very respectful of you if you are listening to this podcast in the future. We're going to talk about visualizations, like I'm looking over to the right, which is where Isabella is.
And I'm looking over to and it's left, is it? Where Mike is.
And we are in the same room, but as you can see, Isabella is in the director's chair, and I'm here in the kind of studio over here.
The naughty chair.
So I guess I better get things rolling before we get into the content by opening the champagne and blowing out the candles somehow. So shall I do that? I'll try and do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it is a big celebration for us. 100 is a big milestone. And we thought we need to do it with a big bang. And by the way, Mike, if you want, hurry up. The cake will be melted over with candles.
Here it goes. You ready? 3, 2, 1. There. Let me go over and pull some champagne, because Ezra is there holding a cake.
Oh, that's brilliant. So a cake is here. I wish we could share some with you. I think it's a cream and cookie something in there, so it should be quite nice. But we wanted to have a big celebration. 100 episodes is a big milestone. It's 2 years of podcasting. Can you believe that, Mike? He's just coming back. He's just running to his naughty chair.
Actually, I would say it's just over 2 years, because here's the first fact. We started this podcast on the 3rd of July, 2014.
Hang on, Mike. Before you do anything else, we need to blow the candles. I can't be sitting here.
Well, do you want to do that?
I think we both should do that.
Okay, well, I'll blow from here. So if I go from here, probably blow them out.
Can you help us, please? Can you help us blow the candles? Okay.
Yes, if you're watching at home right now.
Can we make a wish?
Yes, let's make a wish. Okay. Let's all make a wish together. Ready?
Yeah, okay. 3, 2, 1. Hey!
This is kind of weird, because it's only us two sitting here in a studio. We can't actually see or hear from anyone else, unless, of course, if you are watching live, you're typing either on the event page. You can ask a question in the Q&A section. If you're watching on YouTube as well, I am there monitoring comments coming in on YouTube. So wherever you are, if you are in with us live right now, do ask a question, do interact, and we fully intend to read your stuff out and interact with you. We have got some content prepared, so don't worry about that. Yes, we're not just going to talk about cakes and champagne. So shall we get into the content, Isabella?
Yeah, absolutely. So perhaps before we do, just a quick agenda. So firstly, we've got some facts and timeline. So we will share some, I guess it will be kind of trip back for us a little bit. So we will share some facts with you. Then we have this new amazing idea, because a big change is coming to MRC Podcast, and we are absolutely thrilled to share it with you.
Hang on, Isabella. Change is scary, right? Change is not good. I don't like change, right? I'm a big fan of podcasts, and for instance, I listen to Michael Hyatt a lot, and when he said I'm changing everything after episode 100, I was like, oh no, Michael, but I love what you already do. But he's gone and exceeded himself. So sometimes change can be a good thing, right?
Absolutely. Well, I would hope it will be in this case. So we will share with you this big new idea, and then we would like to invite you to join us live on the Hangout, so you would be on the podcast. So if you are celebrating with us at the moment, we would like you to let us know in the chat room. We will remind later on, as we kind of will be leading on to that part, but we would like you to join and to show how you celebrate with us. So it would be great to actually finally put a face to you as the listener, and we hope others will be able to see that too.
Yes, so if you want to come into Google Hangout On Air and actually be on the camera live with us for a moment so we can have a chat, then just let us know and I will send an invite, because I can do that from the control panel in Google Hangouts. So.
Yeah, so that's it. So facts. When did we start the podcast, Mike? When was the first ever episode released?
The first episode was on the 3rd of July, 2012. And do you know what the episode was called, Izabela?
I have no idea, I must say.
It was called Podcasts, App, and the Future of Radio, where I did a monologue, I think it lasted about 20 minutes, talking about Apple's new Podcasts app and the future of radio, which I've got a funny feeling I might have said it's dying.
The kind of theme repeated itself throughout pretty much almost every episode.
Oh, by the way, hello to Gregory Walker Jr., who just said, "Hey, Mike and Izabela, I'm shocked I can actually see you live from my phone. Congrats from Chicago."
Wow, brilliant.
Chicago, USA. Nice.
Hey. Lovely. It's actually still a strange feeling for me because I really don't like coming on the camera, so it's it's one of those funny moments for me.
I've dragged you onto YouTube a couple of times, but I also must say hello to Liam Sloan, who I know is watching, and it's good to know Gregory is watching on his phone right now, because Liam asked me before the live broadcast if he can watch on his Android phone. So hopefully, Liam, you've got it working and you're in on our event page and you can join in with us.
Brilliant, Mike. Some more facts. What is our most ever listened to episode?
Well, let's sort of face this by saying that up until this point, and this is the reason why we decided to make some exciting changes, we've had probably we would expect just over 1,000 unique listeners to each episode we create, which is really good. You know, I hear Dave Jackson from the School of Podcasting saying, even if you have 30 listeners listening to an episode, that is a classroom full of people. Which is amazing.
Absolutely. No, I think it's brilliant, and we will get to that in a second, but it is one of the reasons why we've decided to bring the change. But some exciting stats. Go on then. We've got the top 3 episodes. Number 1 at 6,818 listens, so it's the 6 times usual number of listens. World of Audio in 2013 review. So that was our... Yeah. This was a December episode, wasn't it?
It was at the end of the year, and funnily enough, it was actually a really lazy episode. And I say that, you know, in the nicest way, but it was like a review of everything we'd done on the podcast in that year. Some of the best bits, I remember I went through and I clipped out some of our best guests that we had on, and we included them in the episode. So really it was a rerun, kind of like we're doing in this episode. Yeah. But for some reason, it seemed to really resonate with you, with the audience, and it was like, yeah, we want to hear what happened in 2013. So 6,818 listens on that episode.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Well, followed not even closely, actually, at 4,886 listens, audio branding for a music radio creative.
And that's when you really, really put your stamp on the podcast, Bella. You said, I'm going to come in and I'm going to change it from Mike geeking out about radio and microphones, and move on to the audio branding, the wider business visualization of where maybe we could go with Music Radio Creative. And it was great fun, and clearly, you know, a lot of people wanted to hear what you had to say. But and I get told every day. I get tweets saying, episode 99, the one previous to this, you should just say Isabella's right. Who was that tweeted? Do you remember?
Oh no, I can't remember now. I'm sorry. You've put me on the spot. But
well, look it up while I do a shout out to Shanman, who he says, "Hey guys, congratulations on the 100th episode. Watching you from Phoenix, Arizona. Great to see Mike Russell and Izabela Russell. You guys sound amazing." You very much. And actually, we met Shanman at New Media Expo this year, which was really cool. And he's a radio guy as well, so really big fan of Shanman, and he's there in the chat room as well. So, did you find out who it was?
I did. Steve Stewart.
Oh, we love Steve. He's right.
Because I am always right?
Moving swiftly on to the 3rd most listened to ever episode of the Music Radio Creative podcast. And this had 4,375 listens, and that was actually nothing to do with audio and nothing to do with technical gadgets, nothing to do with music radio creative. It was.
And it was my idea, shall I add?
Yes, it got lots of listens because
You
of that.
nearly slashed that episode. You actually nearly said we are not recording it. I remember it very clearly.
Did I say something along the lines of "it's irrelevant and our audience won't like it"?
Yeah, something like that.
Right.
And there it is. 4,375 listens, the power of networking.
And it's all about what we do, I guess, to network and expand the business in a way. So there you go.
So that's
really
the top
exciting.
3. Now, you also have the top commented episodes for us.
Yes, and I think that this is going to teach us a lesson for where we want to take podcasting to in the future. Because can I say it now about the Music Radio Creative Podcast? Not what we're going to do, but what's happening to the MRC podcast.
Go on.
I'll say it now. This is the last ever episode of the Music Radio Creative Podcast. Hang on, actually, I should go into. Doesn't Google have this really cool feature where you can
Have
do
the
something?
little cool sounds, right?
Well, you can add sounds, but you can also add. Actually, if anyone knows how to do that, there's also a thing where you can put like a pirate eye patch on and like crowns. If anyone knows how to do that, can you just write it in the chat room or the Q&A now? Because I would love to be able to do that and add some sound effects live into the podcast. I'm sure there'll be someone watching now who knows how to do that. But yes, it's the last ever episode. And I think the 3 most commented on episodes that we have done will prove why we're doing what we're about to do, what we're about to do for the future of our podcasting, as it were. Our podcasting, can you call it a career?
Yeah, it's definitely
Journey.
It's a journey. It became our life really more than anything. It's just very interesting. It's something we really love to do. Oh, and by the way, I just see we have greetings from Iraq, from Ahmed Sprouse. Wow, Iraq.
Awesome.
Yeah, brilliant.
And where has that come in? Has that come in on the event chat page or the Q&A page?
Q&A page. This is the only one I can see. I'm so not technical. I'm scared to click anything else because I'm worried I'm going to come on off air.
Do you know what? That's really interesting. I don't know what order those Q&A questions are coming in, but I'm just scrolling down now, and I can see loads of new comments, but they're not refreshing on my screen. So I thought we were just getting no comments, but it turns out I scrolled down and there's loads of them I haven't seen. So we'll get through them, though. Isabella will start reading them. And Shaman has just said Google Effects, so I'm going to look for that. It might be a plugin installed for watching live. If not, then we'll get into the most commented episodes in the Music Radio Creative series. So the third most episode with 49 comments on it was sound quality for podcasting and broadcasting. So that's a bit of a geeky one where we got into, I think it was possibly where we were talking about the Heil PR40 microphones that we're
I think it was, yes. And I think we were reviewing quite a lot of different things. So, yeah, 49 comments.
And I think I got into the fact that you couldn't easily get hold of Heil microphones, and I think the comments turned into a series of places that you could get Heil microphones in the UK, which is what I love about the community that listen to this podcast, is that you can say something and suddenly you've got the answer there in front of you if you don't know it, which often is the case for me. So.
Well, the second most commented episode, with 59 comments even, was mic chain setup for voiceovers. Now, that was the episode I really struggled.
That was a really geeky one. That was where I was talking about inputs and outputs and phono leads and XLRs, male and female, and you were joking with me, weren't you, about that?
Honestly, my head was just spinning. It was the worst episode for me to sit through. I was just sitting there and I was pretending I listened, and I was genuinely trying to actually understand what you're talking about. So the only thing I could understand is like those were the keywords that started to come in. It's like a male input or whatever, the female one. And I'm like, what? It just suddenly woke me up. It's like, nice one. Yeah.
So, and thanks to Shaman, I'm now wearing a pirate's hat. It's Google Effects, Isabella. If you want to look into it while I'm reading this out, you might need to install the plugin if you can find how to do that in your Google thing. But I can put on a pirate's hat or a crown, or I can be the Mad Hatter. I think I'll be maybe the Mad Hatter. There we go, with the Mad Hatter's hat.
Nice.
And the most commented on episode with 92 comments was an episode we did entitled Voice-Over Jobs at Music Radio Creative. And I believe, Isabella, that was the first episode that you actually joined in with, wasn't it?
Was it 39? Oh, of course it was. I
Yeah, you
remember
made a
being,
cameo appearance.
yeah, no, I remember being so stressed. And I remember, this is, by the way, very distracting when I talk.
Yeah.
I remember being so stressed and you really being like, come on, I don't want to be editing so many times, just say it once so that I don't have to edit this through. You made me so stressed, genuinely, on that episode because you wanted everything perfect. Those were the days, by the way, where Mike wanted everything to be like spot on,
I
clean,
remember, and actually,
cut. It's like,
yeah, I did a tip that our voiceover friend Darren Altman, who I believe will be joining us later on in the episode, Darren Altman gave me this tip. He said, if you mess up in a voiceover session, what you can do is you can either clap 3 times or you can like click from the back of your throat. You can go, and then if you do that in Adobe Audition or whatever you're using to edit the audio, you'll see 3 big spikes, and then you know to go back and edit that. So I was sitting there through the whole episode going, like, it really didn't work very well. So. Oh, so that was good. But actually, looking at it, it wasn't until episode 49 when you joined in full time with the Music Radio Creative Podcast.
It was, yeah. So I remember that day very clearly. You were kind of like, oh, I actually found it quite easy to record the episode with you. Why won't you come on again? And it kind of stayed that way. I started and I didn't even expect to be there forever. And then it just kind of rolled in.
Yes.
It just sort of rolled in totally. It was brilliant. I actually loved it.
Absolutely. I'd like to say hello to David Harbour, who said, great to see this working. Love the idea from a great team of people. This is the future. No, David from Radio Response, watching from the home of secret radio listening for the last 60 years. Caversham. I hope I've said that town name right. Sounds like somewhere in the UK. So hi to you, David. And we've answered your question, and I actually did it by selecting it in the Q&A app as well.
Nice. Well, I can also say there is someone else I'd like to give a shout to. There is a comment from Tio Dumitrashi. I hope I'm saying this right.
Oh, yes,
Hello,
let's select that.
Izabela and Mike, greetings from Romania. Happy 100th episode.
Nice. Hi to you, Tio. And it's lovely to have people listening in and watching all around the world. And, of course, listening back to the podcast that will be in the iTunes, the Stitcher feed, the Spreaker feed, and on YouTube as well. So I better take off all these silly effects that I'm wearing, like the snorkel and the birthday cake. Otherwise...
And on the Romania theme, there is another person listening in Romania, Mihai Tudor Popescu. Greetings from Romania. Happy 100th episodes. Congrats to you too. Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Nice. And hello to Rob Ellis, who says, is that including the first Hangout mic? I'm not sure what he's actually referring to. But, but he just says congratulations, and I know Rob is listening in Bournemouth in the UK, which I was there just a couple of days ago. It's got a really nice beach, so yeah, it's cool.
Nice, lovely. Well, I think, Mike, this is it. We need to say what is changing for Music Radio Creative. Why does it stop? What starts?
Right.
It's time.
It is time.
But perhaps, well, we stop the Music Radio Creative podcast. That's it. This is the last episode. It's 100 and the last episode. But I should really add, as we know it. Shouldn't I, Mike?
Wow.
Or is that cheeky to say that?
Well, we're capping at 100 episodes, and I think it's important to explain why we're doing this, because people have got used to having the Music Radio Creative podcast, and we appreciate that you have tuned in, week out, had it on your podcatcher, on your iPhone, wherever it's been, just listened online, through the website, whatever it's been, and we appreciate that that's now going to change for you, and we're going to give you what we believe are new, exciting options. But yes, it is a bit of a change, but we're capping it, first of all, for brand reasons, really, because Music Radio Creative, you would wonder what kind of a podcast is that, right, Izabela? And that's what you thought. That's what you said.
That's exactly what I thought. And, well, I know we have many listeners who have been with us from the very beginning, and it's brilliant. Thank you so much for sticking around. And I know that many listeners discovered us through Music Radio Creative. So we obviously communicated that for a variety of different channels. But what we would like to do, and what we thought we are currently not doing so well, is we would like to give people opportunity to find us through other means, for other ways. And I think every other podcaster who's listening to us at the moment would agree that it's so important. You have to be discoverable, and we didn't feel we have been. And actually, our listening figures, listening stats, have communicated to us exactly the same thing. So I remember the times where we were looking at how many listens each week we have, and it was like 500, 600, and 700, 800, 900, and then it's 1,000. And it kind of reached that maximum, that top, and we struggled, and we still struggle to go beyond that every single time. I mean, there are some episodes that do super well, and obviously go way beyond to 5,000 listens. So what we thought is we need to do something to enable people to find us. And when we started to think about that something, we thought, okay, well, no one is going to really search for music radio creative on iTunes. It's, I mean, perhaps some people would, but it would be like a couple of people, maybe even that every month, right? So it's not significant enough. So then we thought, well, maybe we should change the name of the podcast. So then we started to think, well, if we change the name of the podcast, what would it be? And then we started to think, okay, so what are we actually podcasting about? And then we said, okay, well, quite often we podcast about actually podcasting. So we talk about issues related to podcasting and everything like that. We do like to talk, and we talk a lot about various internet marketing things. So Mike, it's especially your very good point in our business, and this is something you do spend a lot of time on. Yes. And often we try to bring some tips and ideas in relation to our audience. So we thought, okay, so that's another one. What else do we talk about? And then, well, there is a lot of radio talk, audio production talk. I also sometimes bring in some branding ideas. And then in between, we kind of throw in a little bit of our lifestyle. And
Izabela, there's so much going on. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. It's not enough for one podcast episode. And I'm just going to say, Rob Mobley, who we know and love, says, "Hi guys, ooh, mysterious." That's exciting. And I know Rob is coming to the UK Pod 14 podcasting conference in the UK, which is going to be in Birmingham. And if you go to digitalmarketingtoolkit.com, you can see Rob. He's currently on a 30-day journey up to that conference date to launch his very own podcast, which is really exciting.
Fantastic, yeah.
Hi to Rob. And there's a few more comments I want to mention in a second, but we want to increase our weekly output, which is going to sound nuts because at the moment we've been doing a podcast episode once a week, and that's been between 20 and 40 minutes, depending on whether we had a guest or whether it was just us speaking. So 20 or 40 minutes of output. We want to increase that to at least 50 minutes per week, right? But that's going to be delivered in a different style. We want to do, and wait for this, John Lee Dumas and Pat Flynn, a daily podcast. and this is the challenge, and I know it's not going to be easy, but I think we need to take on the challenge and try this. A daily podcast, but with a twist.
Hang on, before you say the twist, let's give some shout-outs. Let's keep it hanging.
Okay, so the daily podcast with a twist. And I'll just say before we go into the shout-outs, I just want to preface this with the fact that Izabela and I have been brainstorming this or masterminding it, whatever you want to call it, for at least the last month or so now. And we wanted to do the daily podcast, but we realized that John Lee Dumas is already doing a very successful business podcast where he interviews exciting entrepreneurs and has a great format there. Pat Flynn has a great format with his daily podcast. So we were thinking, how can we do something different?
With a twist.
Go on with some shout-outs.
Okay, well, there is one from Michael and St. Paul. Hi, Mike and Izabela. I'm Mike, and watching live from Haiti. Happy 100th. So, wow, that's far away.
Very cool indeed.
Yay.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's quite cool.
There's Christian Murphy, which I believe is a Dutch name. Well done, guys. 100 episodes.
Nice, lovely. Brilliant. And a big shout out to JC. our
Yes.
friend from the United
Across
States.
the pond.
Yes, across the pond, and his lovely daughter Haley.
Yes, that's right. And he's been commenting quite a lot, so I can see that,
Yes.
that you are right there, JC.
Absolutely. So, new daily podcast with a twist.
So what is the twist? Well, we thought we'd bring in a way of having an experiment, a way of analysing, kind of having something measurable to what we do. So obviously with the Music Radio Creative podcast, we could see the weekly listens that were coming in. We could see the feedback we were getting. The most popular episodes, which I would mention are all audio production related, which I found quite interesting. So we thought we'd do, and we hope this is the first, but I don't know, maybe someone will say in the chat room or will feedback to us in the future and say, oh, you weren't the first, someone else has already done this. But we thought we'd do the first podcasting split test, just like you can do in Google Analytics. You know where you go, right, this is going to get really geeky, and I apologize for this, Isabella, and anyone listening of Isabella.
Okay, I've got
Isabella
something
thoughts.
to sip on here, so
Right.
in case it gets
Just go into a
really bad.
geeky moment for a moment. You know, a lot of people I know will know what I'm talking about. So you go onto the web, right, and you can set up 5 different pages. And it might be that just the call to action button is a different color, right? So you might have a buy now button that's blue, red, yellow, orange, and green. And you see which one of those buy now buttons converts the most, makes you the most sales, right? That's an online marketing tactic. You might change the copy. You might change the image. You might change the position of the buy now button, all these things. You might have a completely different product in your split test and see which one sells the best. You know, like for instance, in Music Radio Creative, you know, we might split test different kinds of Christmas jingles and see which one sells the best, right? So you can do this, and you can do this in your own e-commerce store. You can do it on your own blog site, whatever, split testing, right? But who has really done split testing with a podcast? So we thought, well, why don't we do a daily podcast Monday to Friday, yeah? And every single day we will do a different topic, so a different podcast, and we'll review it, I think by the end of this year, so before 2015, and we will give you the results of that split test, and based on that data, we will go on and take it from there.
So we will, in a way, we are launching 5 new podcasts. Every single one of those podcasts is actually going to have its separate feed, separate name. They're all going to be drawn together under the MRC network. I guess we could call it a network. MRC network of podcasts. And they are all going to be having their own logos, artworks, just everything. So it's just from the point of view launching a podcast, we're actually launching 5 new podcasts.
Yes.
But what we will also continue doing is we will continue putting those up on our existing feed on a daily basis. So say if you tune in on Monday, you will always get content about one thing. Tuesday, another thing. And then what we want to do is just test what really works. So as Mike said, towards the end of the year, we will review, okay, how many listeners have we managed to get throughout that time? What kind of engagement do we get on each of the podcasts? And what feedback do we get? What do we enjoy doing most of all? Because, you know, it may be that, well, we've dived into something, but maybe that actually we don't enjoy talking about it, right? I mean,
Yes.
accessibility.
We've run out of topics to talk about.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a very interesting experiment. But basically, like Isabella is saying, we are going to be launching, and we've put the launch date by the 22nd of August, 2014. We will have these 5 new podcasts up and running, hopefully all in the same week. So you'll get a new episode every day from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You'll be able to subscribe to whichever podcasts you personally want to listen to. And another thing we based this decision on is the fact that we've spoken to listeners of the Music Radio Creative podcast, and they say, well, sometimes I select which episodes to listen to. So I'll scroll down and I'll say, oh, that one's not relevant to me, so I won't listen to that episode. So we thought we'd try and make it easy for you and say, well, if you do like to listen to audio production stuff and geeky stuff, there'll be a podcast for you. If you want to hear all about online marketing, there'll be a podcast for you. If you want to know podcasting information, there'll be a podcast for you. If you want to know the rubbish we talk about at the start of our episodes, like how many steps we've done on Fitbit, there'll be a podcast for you. And it's kind of like cutting that all out so you can get straight into the content. And it's respecting, I think, the listener's time, which is so important in this on-demand kind of stage we have right now in life. It's like people can choose whether to listen to you. And if you speak for 10 minutes at the start of the Music Radio Creative podcast about life and someone's not tuning in for that, you might lose a listener. So why not 10 minutes? So each podcast episode is going to be very short, 10 minutes. And
I hope it's going to really work. I sometimes really like to talk about things. So it's like you're going to be giving me this, come on, finish, finish, finish. I can already see that happening.
well, we got to have some strict times, right? And of course,
No,
we
of
can run
course,
over and
of
under a
course.
bit.
I'm joking, but yeah.
Yeah.
So most of all, we don't want to be afraid of the change. I mentioned that at the very beginning of the episode. We don't want to be afraid of change. We want to embrace it,
Yes.
and we want to see what it will bring for us and for you, because it's exciting. It's something that brings quite a lot of work for us at the very beginning. But we hope it's going to bring rewards as well. And as I said earlier on, we do enjoy podcasting. So, why not to try things around? I mean, there is no one out there who sets the rules. There is no one there to tell you, oh, you're right or you're wrong. You are the only person to try those things. So, it's just why not to do it, right?
Indeed, I couldn't agree more. So shall we wrap up by talking about those 5 podcasts and
yes.
tell people, if they are finding this very final episode and they've made it all the way to the end, where they can go to essentially subscribe to these podcasts if they're listening in the future, or where you can be right now if you'd like to hear more about them?
Yeah, absolutely. So podcast number 1.
Podcast number 1. And we try to create creative names for these podcasts.
Well, we've tried to think about something that hasn't been done before, or it's kind of easy to remember. So please don't laugh at certain things. I will do. But
also, I'd like to give them a name check because we were listening to our podcasting coach friends like Cliff Ravenscraft, Daniel J. Lewis, Dave Jackson, Ray Ortega, John Lee Dumas, and they all say, name your podcast what it is. Because when people are searching in iTunes, or when people are looking for your podcast in iTunes, they're searching for a subject. They're not searching for necessarily music radio creative, or they're not searching for the Crazy Time podcast. You don't know what that's all about, right? So we tried to make the names obvious while not being boring, although it might seem that way with the first one. So the first podcast that we're going to do, that's going to come out once per week, and we're going to give you a simple 10-minute nugget of information, and each podcast will be on one topic, so you'll get just the information that we have.
Go on, Mike. Let's get into the nuggets here.
The first podcast is called
Podcast About Podcasting.
Yes, podcast about podcasting. That's so original, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. I mean, we had to think about that for such a long time.
But there are already many podcasts about podcasting, right? There are already many really good podcasts, and we want to add a different light. We don't want to go into too much detail. We want to be short and concise and focus on one very specific topic for each episode. So,
but the reason we do that is because we do enjoy talking about it, and we found that especially, I guess, towards the late days of the Music Radio Creative Podcast, we found it so easy to actually talk about podcasting related topics. And then we thought, well, but every single time we talk about podcasting, we kind of alienate our friends from radio or voiceover artists who perhaps are not interested in podcasting. So we wanted to have that channel to bend all of our energy through and to genuinely just talk podcasting, right? It's like, we are organizing UK Podcasters Conference, right? So this is, very relevant. We are very passionate about it, and we want to have a place to talk about it. So podcast about podcasting is going to be the place for us to do that on.
Absolutely. Actually, I may as well give out the domain names, because we're taking this split test very seriously. So if you go to these domain names now, you'll see that they've been registered, but they'll probably just go to like an ads page or a landing page or one of those parking pages, because we haven't got anything on there. But I think it's important, if you're listening in the future and you're interested in one or all of these podcasts, you know where to find them. So the domain name for that will be podcastaboutpodcasting.com. Okay? podcastaboutpodcasting.com. Just before we go on to the second podcast, Who's Behind the Mic says, only 10 minutes. And feel free to comment if you're watching or listening live right now with your thoughts. So, yeah, 10 minutes does seem a bit short, but I think there are benefits to that. For instance, somebody could do that really quickly in a lunch break, when they just want to get some quick content, or on a very quick train journey, they can tune into that content. And remember, over the whole week, 5 podcasts will be 50 minutes of content a week. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Just in smaller nuggets. So, yeah. But, as I say, we will see kind of how it goes, because I know there will be topics that will be quite difficult to squeeze into 10 minutes.
We'll go on. And sometimes we'll want to have guests on as well, so that's another thing to consider. The second podcast will be called the Audio Production Podcast, and that's your
place to vent.
Absolutely. So
And geek out too.
yeah,
We're
everything.
officially allowed.
Everything about audio production, Adobe Audition, cutting audio, using any audio editing software, and making things sound good. So we found, like we mentioned earlier, a lot of our most popular episodes have been based around audio production. So it's a no-brainer. Audioproductionpodcast.com. That's audioproductionpodcast.com if you want just the geeky stuff about making things sound great.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mike will be, I think you will be the star of this one. It's it's clearly going to be your baby. You are going to, because this is what you do. You are the audio production guy. You're the Adobe guy. You do a lot of tutorials and stuff. So
Yes.
I think, for anyone who's also watching Mike's tutorials, I think you are going to enjoy that one because it will be kind of like, an enhancement to it all. It will be a place where, we talk about all the Mike geeky stuff. So, yeah.
The geeky stuff, indeed. Third podcast will be the Internet Marketing Online Show.com, internetmarketingonlineshow.com, where I guess we'll be sharing tips and strategies to improve your game online. So questions we get asked a lot, specific to internet radio and podcasting are, how can I promote my stream, my show? How can I get more listeners? How can I get more shares, more likes on social media? All that kind of stuff. So we're going to have a specific show to talk about one tip a week, one specific tactic that you can employ after listening to that podcast. So we'll give you one tip, tell you how to do it.
It will be with a spin to particularly help people in the audio industry. So be it if you're in radio, podcasting, voiceover, producer, you have a radio station. So we will try to put that spin on that kind of angle there, so that perhaps you can relate to that a little bit better and easier and implement it without actually questioning also how will that work in my situation, kind of thing.
That's it. Shamman says, you're singing my tune, Mike Russell, audio production podcast. Fantastic. So, yeah, I can't wait to do that one, actually. I'm looking forward to getting stuck into all of them. Kyron, by the way, Kyron's with us. Yay! Kyron's in the chat room. Kyron Mountain. And he is an excellent podcaster and an excellent audio producer as well, by the way, Kyron.
Indeed,
so thanks so much for joining us. And he says, are all these shows going to be audio online? And that's going to be the plan. They are just going to be audio podcasts. We're going to record them and publish them as we've done with Music Radio Creative. So they'll go on iTunes, they'll go on Stitcher, you can subscribe to them, you can listen on the website, you can do whatever you'd like to do that way.
Yes, they are going to be audio only, and if you want to see Mike's pretty face, just look at his YouTube videos,
No, don't. By the way, we are going to wrap this up in about the next 5 or so minutes. We'll wrap up telling you about these shows, and then we'll just have some free time to maybe invite some guests into the podcast.
And have fun, have celebration, and if you are listening and having a little bubbly, or by the way, I need to top up, Mike.
Okay. Well, maybe in a second when we have some guests. So we'll do the last 15 or 20 minutes. We'll make this an hour because obviously we're respectful of your time. So we're not going to go over 9 p.m. UK time or wherever you're listening. It's now 37 minutes. Hang on, let me do my radio thing. It's now 23 minutes to the hour wherever you're listening in the world. So 23 minutes to the hour, and we won't go over the hour. So basically, we're here within the hour. So we'll have some guests in. So if you'd like to be on with us live on the Hangout now, like with your webcam and everything, or just audio only if you're a bit shy, just post in one of the comment rooms and say I'd like to join in, and then we'll invite you one at a time. Hopefully, not everyone because it could get confusing, and we'll do that. But anyway, let's get through the rest of the show. So we've so far got the podcast about podcastabouttpodcasting.com. That's podcastabouttpodcasting.com. Audioproductionpodcast.com. Like I say, if you're listening or watching live now, those domains won't have anything on them. We've just registered them, and we're going to get some stuff up within the next month. Internetmarketingonlineshow.com. That's another one. Now, this one's your baby. Do you want to talk about the next podcast, Izabela?
Okay, I will start off with the fact that we've been sitting on a fence with the name here for a very long time.
No, I didn't like it, and then I did, and then I didn't.
But you came up with it. This was your idea.
I'm gonna get real trouble here. I can tell.
Hang on. Let me explain here. Okay, this is something that needed to be unique. It needed to stand out. It has a word in it that's a keyword that's very widely used. It's something that has been actually used and abused. So actually, we found it really hard to find a name for the podcast with an available domain, or perhaps not just unique name that would stand out. And so we were thinking all sorts of different things. The keyword here is branding, by the way. So hence, it's going to be my baby. So the keyword
and
is
just
branding.
for the online marketing geeks that are listening right now, branding gets around 110,000 unique searches on Google every single month. So that's why it's a popular term, and people want to know how to brand themselves. And Isabella, you're kind of the branding girl, aren't you? Or the branding.
This is my passion. This is something I would love to learn more about. I can't say I'm an expert. There are people who know far more than I do about branding, but I want to learn, and I'm looking at this podcast as a way to truly learn and expand my thinking myself in that field. It is kind of my little passion, like. The audio production is yours, and it's something I would really truly like to have place where I personally can grow it, so that I don't have someone like you, Mike, telling me no, we can't do this, no.
You can do whatever you want on that show, but will I be allowed to join in?
Yes, and I would love you to be there, and just be someone who keeps me in check.
Pick your brains,
Yeah. So
cool.
The branding podcast.
Can I call it's not called the branding podcast. Can I say Isabella is officially our branding cow? Branding cow.
I'm sorry, before you think it's crazy. Okay, the podcast is going to be called Branding Cow. Okay.
.com.
.com. And I'm not the cow.
I said people are going to call you a cow.
I said to you, I'm willing to take that risk. And the reason I do is we were thinking, okay, if you are talking branding, it has to have the name that stands out, that has a brand. And actually, if you think about it, we haven't got the logo yet ready, but I'm just straight away looking at that cow, with a question mark branded on its bottom,
And also, like I'll say this here because I remember brainstorming with this with you about because we wanted to do something around branding. We knew that was your passion, and we wanted to do obviously audio production's mine, and we wanted to have something specifically geared towards you. And I was coming up with stuff. What about brandingideas.com or brandingcompany.com? Of course, all those domains were taken. And so I don't want to be stuffy. I don't want to be like the Branding Ideas Co. Limited or incorporated. So branding cow is a bit funny, isn't it? But the only thing that I was really worried about, and I still am a bit worried, and I'd love to know your opinion if you're in the chat room now and you'd like to feedback live, or if you'd like to feedback in the comments if you're listening in the future. See, I'm really concerned, Isabella, about the visualizations people will get when you say branding cow. I don't think those are good visualizations.
I know, but listen, just for the record, okay, I don't eat meat. I don't eat cows. I'm very, very animal-friendly person, okay? I'm very, we went vegan for nearly a month, right? For health reasons, but we stayed away from meat, and we don't eat meat, and I don't intend to eat meat anymore.
Wow, you're right on your soapbox now, Isabella. Animal rights. Fantastic. I wasn't really getting it out. I was just like, if you type,
someone wonders, okay? I'm not someone who abuses animals.
Wait, if you're watching this or listening to this podcast live now, please go to Google and type branding cow into Google and see what comes up. I was quite my stomach did turn around.
Okay, well listen, we are going to change it, but let's look at the positive here. It's a brand that when you mention it stands out. Now, the reason I want to think beyond the podcasting, and I'm going to say it out loud now, perhaps that will make me help me to realize that dream. But one of the things I would like to do in the near future is I actually would like to set up another company, and I would like to have a place when anyone come in and have their brand created. Cool. And I'm thinking beyond the podcast. I wanted to have a brand that truly really sticks with people, and puts a smile on a face. It's just something that sticks with you. It's like all the stuffy stuff is not me. It's just not me, and I want something that's more relaxed, something that's more approachable and just fun, right? It's just like, if you think about it, right, some of the biggest kind of brand names, right, they don't actually, they don't mean that much. Like GoDaddy. What is GoDaddy, right? Go where?
Domain names and web hosting, but you wouldn't know it. You're right.
No, you wouldn't. And what about Moonpig, right?
Yeah, Moonpig, if you don't know, it's a UK-based company that does online cards. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's yeah. So I kind of wanted to think beyond the
I was
podcast.
really trying to discourage the name Branding Cow in the end,
But
even
you came
though,
up
like
with
you say, I did
it.
think about it. I was like,
Yeah,
Branding Cow, I'm not sure, but you're right. It does stand out. It does kind of shake things up a bit, and
yeah,
it's like, oh, what is that? Kind of thing. So,
yeah.
yeah, good luck
Someone
with that one.
posted. Hang on,
That's your
Ali
baby.
Carson. Hang on, Ali Carson posted brandingcowpiles.com.
Does that mean we now have to put the E tag, the explicit tag on this podcast? We had, actually, J. Christopher Dunn is in the room, and he says, how about isabrand.com? Actually, that's really clever. IZA, which is your nickname, because it's spelled the European way rather than the English way, the ISA. So it's IZA brand.com. Don't tell me that domain's available. That's actually very clever. That is isabrand.com. I like it, isabrand.com. But
Oh, I see it now.
isabrand.com.
Wow, that's awesome. Thanks for that. Yeah.
Someone's going to go and stamp that domain now.
No, this is brilliant. But yeah, it's so branding cow, and we will see how it goes. As we said, it's an experiment. So at this stage, we are open for possibility of change. So once we get feedback, once we get rolling with it, nothing is sense. I'm not afraid to try, and I don't want to be afraid to try. It may be the biggest fiasco, it may be the biggest success, and until we try it, we will not know. So branding cow is going to be my baby. It's going to be branding reviews. It's going
Your
to be
baby cow.
I'm not going to be the cow, and I'm not going to dress like a cow every time we record, by the way. So
You realise you'll have to if it takes off. When you're doing like a public expo, for instance, you're going along
are you going to dress like a bull?
Why not? Yeah, I'm up for that. So there we go.
Anyway, but those will be so branding reviews, ideas, tips, and tricks. I might actually, well, I don't want to say I'm going to be a bit of a cow, but I might actually review branding of podcasters, brands, and I might just look at it from my own point of view, from the branding point of view, and give some ideas there. So, but the podcast, I hope it will be interesting. I'm going to enjoy producing content for it. So, just bear with us on that one.
Let's get on to the last one. Like we said at the start, this is a split test. So we're doing a daily podcast. Each day it will be a different podcast. So we've got 5 podcasts in total. And we're just going to see which ones work and which ones don't. So it really is an experiment. We're not expecting anything here, but we'll be interested to see what audiences, what communities, and what engagement develops for each show. So we are doing this for a specific reason. Let's get into the last podcast, and then let's definitely get some people in the Hangout room with us. The final one, and this is what I wanted to do for a very long time, Izabela.
Yes. We recorded it. It even came to the point where we recorded some episodes for it. So I remember we've been on a beach and we recorded our first episode, and it didn't come out quite well because we didn't have the shield, the pop shield. No, not the pop shield. What is it?
And then we did some episodes in the studio that have never been published.
No, that's it. So this is one of those that I have really wasn't sure about for a long time, and I think we found a happy medium. So it's going to be called Isle of Wight Lifestyle Podcast.
Isle of Wight Lifestyle Podcast. Now, just to preface this, the domain name is isleofwightlifestyle.com. That's isleofwightlifestyle.com. And the Isle of Wight is actually the fair island just south of England. It is part of England, but off the south coast of England that we live on. That's where we live. So really, we wanted to talk about everything. We're a big passionate fan of lifestyle design and creating the very best life you can for yourself and creating the very best version of you. So in that one, we're going to be kind of 2 passionate entrepreneurs talking all about the things we do in life. It might be health. It might be how many Fitbit steps we've done. It might be spirituality. It might be diet, like trying the vegan diet for a month. It could be anything like that, but it's just a place really to put all of those thoughts on our lifestyle. And it's not going to be based simply around the Isle of Wight. So we're not going to be saying, we went down to the beach. We went to Sandown Beach today and had an ice cream. It'll be nice to throw that in, but that's not the purpose of it because we don't obviously want to just have people listening on the Isle of Wight as much as we would love to have people on the Isle of Wight listening in too. We'd like to connect with the world. So we're kind of showing you what our life is like and how we're attempting to make that better in our
Yeah,
kind of
so we wanted
our
to
vulnerabilities, our fallacies, our foibles, and everything like that. It's going to be
yeah.
everything out there. So yeah.
Yeah, well, and we just simply wanted a place to be us, right? To truly be us, because it's we always have fun talking about those things, and it's like we have so many interesting conversations. I mean, so we think anyway. We have so many really interesting conversations between each other, and we thought, well, wouldn't it be great if we actually opened those conversations to more people? If we invited people to our lifestyle, if we invited people to actually join us on those thoughts we have. You know, it may be sometimes very philosophical. You know, we may talk about life, religion, beliefs, you know, some weird stuff, but it could be just
Some weird stuff.
I don't know, you know, it's like, you know, sometimes we do, and we have fun talking about those things. It's like...
So you mean the kind of conversation that you and I would have on a Friday night with a glass of wine, or, well, champagne in this case, in hand, just putting the world to rights.
It's just going to be Mike and Izabela putting the world to rights. Totally right, yeah.
Is the podcast going to have an explicit tag on it? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Probably not.
Listen, we don't really swear. I mean, I'm not a swearer, and you don't. I mean, occasionally I will say something like bloody hell, or, you know, but that's not really a swear word.
Exactly. So there you go. So ilovewhitelifestyle.com. We haven't got anything yet about the podcast on there, but we will do very soon. I'd like to say hello to Darren Altman, superstar voiceover artist, who says, "Nice haircut, Michael. Looking good, mate." And actually, Darren, if you are watching right now, I've just sent you an invite. So if you would join us, we'd be delighted to have you in the Hangout with us just for a few minutes as we wrap up here. We've got 10 minutes left. And anyone else who would like to join in.
People, and I actually have a challenge here, Mike.
Yeah.
I think we should try and get someone on every continent.
All right, cool. Well, why don't I just send out a load of invites and see who would like to join in with us? We just make it a big kind of party. We've got some party poppers actually here. So you've got your frozen margarita in hand, your glass of lemonade, your orange juice, your cake, your dips, and your crisps, whatever you've got right now. Just say that you want to join in, or we'll start inviting some people now. I'll start doing that now. And let's see who we can get into the Hangout On Air chat room to just have a quick word. So I'm going to send a few of those invites out now. So Izabela, do you want to just recap really what we've covered in this episode, and you know, for anyone who's listened, everything from the stats and the facts all the way through to the new ideas?
Totally. So we went through just a little bit of stats as to what were our most successful episodes, how many links we got, and how many comments we got through them. We've been podcasting for 2 years, and we thought that it's time to make a change because our listening figures were perhaps not as good as we would like them to be. We would like to improve them. So we've decided to make a change.
Sounds like a radio station bot saying, "You're not doing good enough. Improve. Change the format."
That's it. So we are finishing the podcast as it is. We are starting 5 new podcasts, and we're going to be releasing them all on the existing feed daily. So it's going to turn into a daily podcast instead. And by the way, our deadline for this, we've set ourselves deadline to have everything up and running. Is going to be 22nd of August.
Yes.
So we are hoping.
It might be before, but that's the deadline.
That's the deadline. I mean, the next month is fairly intense for us due to the fact that we have the UK Pod 14 happening in Birmingham in August.
Do you want to say a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's a conference for podcasters in the UK or Europe, or anywhere for that matter. It's a conference designed to help you to truly grow your podcasting career, to utilize it as a business tool to help your business gain more customers, essentially, to reach further to customers. We have some incredible sessions. If you would like to find out more about it, simply head over to ukpodcasters.com/2014. It's 16th of August in Birmingham, UK. Join us if you can. If podcasting is your thing, this is the place to be. But yeah, just going back to what I was initially saying, Mike and I are going to be fairly busy over the next month or so, but we are hoping to squeeze in some time in between. We actually are planning to pre-record at least 3 episodes for each podcast, so that's
when they launch.
When they launch. So when we launch them, you will actually have a lot of content to listen through. But we are hoping you are going to enjoy that. It's going to give us a little bit of a, I guess, buffer as well. And yeah, just please, please, please comment on your thoughts about this. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you like it? Are you, kind of whatever about it? We want to know. We want to know. We want to know what you think about the change we've proposed. And yeah, just, how do you see it? Do you think it's crazy mad? Do you think it's a great idea? Yeah, we just want to hear from you.
Exactly. And the place you can do that is at mrc.fm/100. Seeing as this is our 100th episode and the final episode of the Music Radio Creative Podcast, we'd love for you to go to mrc.fm/100. Whether you're listening live now to the live podcast or whether you're listening in the future, that is where you can comment on this episode. That will also be the place where you can find out where to find these 5 new podcasts we're going to do. One is going to be about podcasting, one about audio production, one about internet marketing, one about branding, and another one just generally about lifestyle and lifestyle design. So please go to mrc.fm/100. That URL again is
mrc.fm/100.
You can tell there are some edits. When we actually pre-record the podcast, you can tell there are edits, and you can also see my hand signals to Izabela as well.
There are, and it's
you're watching the YouTube stream or anything. So, well, I think it's been a really fun episode. I've sent some invites out. I don't know whether they're not working or whether people can't get it to work or they haven't seen that the invites have been sent for people to come in, because I know Google Hangouts can be a little bit confusing. How do I join in? Or maybe just everyone's just shy, or they just want to watch.
Come on, don't be shy. Join us in.
You've got 5 minutes if you want to join in.
I've seen a comment from Rob Mobley. He said, "Catch up soon, guys. Just burned the carry listening in, and the rest of the family feeding."
Don't do that.
Oh dear, I'm so sorry to hear that. Friday night carry burned. No, that's a big no-no.
And Friday night is a good thing. I'm very much a fan of that. So.
Yeah, no, that's it. So come on, guys, join us in. I've seen JC was threatening to join. I've seen Darren was threatening to join. So come on, guys, grab your Google Plus invites and join us on the conversation. We would love to see you live. And
just click the notification bell, and you should find the little M logo, and then Music Radio Creative has invited you to join in. So if you could do that, that would be fantastic.
Darren said that he hasn't received an invite.
That's interesting, because I did send him one. So maybe it could be that this just simply isn't working and it's not meant to be, which is a shame. Let me try again. I'm going to send a brand new invite to Darren now. So that's just gone now. Invitation posted. So hopefully we can get one other.
So how do
voice.
you find your invite? Would it be in your
You
Google
click.
Plus?
If you're in Google Plus right now, you go along the top bar where you've got the search bar and then the plus Mike or plus Darren.
So you have to, if you are having Google Hangouts opened up, you have to go. I would suggest go and open a new window with your Google Plus, so where you get your Google Plus notifications, and it will be there.
So click the bell, click the notification bell, and you should see an invite.
So don't
there.
be afraid to shut the window and sort of go back to it. That's probably what you need to do. You probably need to join in again, I would imagine, as a guest. So, as much as I'm hating to say this to you, you have to close that lovely window and sort of open it again through the invite we've sent to you.
Yeah.
So who else have you invited, Mike?
I've just invited literally everyone who's asked a question or who's been in the chat room. So if you want to join in, you can. Hopefully these invites will be visible, but perhaps technology is just holding that back from happening tonight. But at least we can see that there are people in the chat room.
We can make it work.
I wish.
Yeah. Oh, Ali Carson has asked whether we will be hosting those episodes on Spreaker. And yes, we will. That's the answer. That's the bottom line answer. Yes, we will.
And just to get into the technicalities of that, we will have 5 different shows inside Spreaker, which you can do. So you can have a single account with Spreaker and multiple shows on the actual Spreaker platform. So we'll have separate show feeds, and then we'll just have the websites will feed out an RSS feed to go to all the other places where you can find us online. So yeah, that's kind of how it's going to work. Yeah.
Absolutely. So exciting times ahead. I think both Mike and I really, really look forward to seeing how that unfolds, and we hope you are going to enjoy it as much as we do. And we hope that the change will not discourage you in any way, because that's
Mm.
definitely not the intention. We really want to bring some more value to you,
Yeah.
perhaps in a more structured way, so that you know exactly what to expect on each day of the week. So Mondays will be a podcast about podcasting, maybe. We haven't decided yet which one goes where. But I think Friday needs to be the lifestyle one.
Yes, that's it, because that's kind of an entertainment, more informal podcast that people can listen to when they're relaxing over the weekend or whatever. And then maybe more of the technically geared stuff towards the start of the week. We've got 1 minute left.
But look, I'm seeing comments coming in from people saying, I didn't receive the invite. Nothing on the bell mic. I close and try again. So it's something is not necessarily right in there.
That's strange.
Come on, Mike, Google it up.
No.
We can listen. We can extend for a few minutes more. I would hate to disappoint people who are genuinely trying to get on here.
Okay, I'll tell you what I'll do is I will post a link in the chat room now. So if you're in the chat room,
how about you can you just open the Hangout to make it public?
No, I don't think I can do that. But I've just posted a link in the chat room. So if you're on the event page where it's got the big 100 and the fireworks and the MRC logo, I've just posted a link there. Hopefully, if somebody clicks that link, it will join them in if they've been invited. So Darren, if you're in the chat room and you can click that link, that's the chat room on the Google Plus event page, which is where you'll find the video embedded and some comments coming in there. Let's see if that will work. Yeah, I can see it. Actually, you're right, Izabela. A lot of people are saying that I didn't get an invite to come in. But this isn't really very good content, is it? Trying to get people to join in with a Google Plus Hangout on Air.
We've got the best intention here. It's
Yeah, and we can go a little bit longer now.
We can, come on, you've got your champagne, enjoy it, right?
So, yeah, I've posted the link in there, so hopefully somebody can click it, or maybe not.
Yeah, it's I can see Ali Carson posting, didn't get an invite, but that's okay. Maybe Google Plus won't allow connection after the Hangout starts. Definitely looking forward to the tech-related podcast, though.
Do you know that is a possibility after you start a Hangout on Air? It may be that for security reasons that Google won't let you add anyone else in.
Rubbish!
Yeah, so it's not working.
Come on, we have people over there who are willing to show what they do. Can we do something?
Oh, we got someone! Aaron's in! It does work!
We've got more!
We've got someone else. They're seeing the link in the chat room now. Clearly that's working. That's awesome.
So there you go. Go to chat room now.
All right, how much time are we going to dedicate to this section of the podcast?
10 minutes.
10 minutes, okay, so until 10 minutes past the hour.
Yes.
Hiram, first and foremost, in an MRC t-shirt, yes!
Yeah.
Yay!
Welcome along.
Thank you so much. Question for you guys about these new podcasts. You're going to have 5 different shows. Are you going to have one master feed for all of them?
Yes, we're going to do it 2 ways. So there will be one master feed, which is the existing Music Radio Creative podcast for all of them. So we will be putting that in there. And there will be a new feed for every single podcast as well. So essentially we will have 6 feeds altogether.
Indeed. Yeah. And I guess that's good because we can utilize the old RSS feed that we have for this Music Radio Creator podcast. It won't go dead, so the subscribers that are on that feed will still get content, but they'll just get everything essentially.
Absolutely. So Kyron, you need to show us how you are celebrating.
Pardon me?
You need to show us how you are celebrating with us today.
Oh, I'm having a bit of Canadian rye and Coke.
Nice! Cheers!
Very cool.
And I can see we've got Darren with us. Hello!
Hello!
It's working!
Hello?
Or it looks like it is.
Yes, it looks like it is, yeah.
So
Hello,
Darren,
Darren.
how are you celebrating with us today?
Trying to get it to work.
Testing.
Hello, yes, Darren, we can hear you. Let's try Mihai. I think that is Mihai. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, my name is Mike. Michael is in Romanian is spelling Mihai. How are you guys? Happy birthday, I can say,
Thank
right?
you. And that's Mihai is a very cool name, especially if
Yeah.
it's Mike in Romanian. I like that.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you so much for joining us today. Can we see your video? Are you able to turn your video on?
I'm not able. I'm trying, but I can't.
That's okay. No, that's all right. It's lovely. Well, you've got a nice picture there anyway. So thank you so much for joining us and celebrating with us. And we've got Darren back again.
Hello, hello. Congratulations.
Yay!
Loving your work. Great fan.
So which one is your favourite new podcast, Darren, from all the 5 we're going to
Joined late, so I joined you about 42 minutes in, so please do apologise. I'll have to listen back and get all the hot gossip.
Oh dear, naughty.
By the way, I've got to say that Darren is a superstar voiceover artist, and if you go back to episode 38 of the Music Radio Creative Podcast, you can hear Darren and all his thoughts and ideas.
That's very sweet of you. I'm a voiceover artist. My mum thinks I'm great. I'm just a voiceover artist.
No, we think you're great, and a lot of our customers do too, because Darren is one of our voiceover
That's
artists.
very sweet of you. You're looking great, guys. Those Fitbit stats are really clocking up, by the way.
Thank you.
I've been slacking off recently, actually, but I need to refresh it because I think it hasn't synced for like the last 2 days. So please don't look at them right now.
Oh, that's brilliant. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Darren and Kyron and Mihai as well. Thank you for coming into the chat room. We really appreciate that.
We certainly do. And what's happening with JC? He was ready, hot and ready to join with his margarita.
Yes.
Where is JC? What's happened there?
Come on, JC, where are you? You must be still watching for the next 5 minutes at least.
Darren is waving goodbye. Bye-bye, Darren.
Oh, I can't see JC. Where's JC? No, he's not. He's not in. But JC, if you do want to come in, just click the link in the chat page on the event page, and we can hopefully get you in for the last 5 minutes or so. Or if not, then we'll just kind of wrap things up.
Absolutely. Well,
Hold on, Mike.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you.
Sure.
Do you will still doing those tutorials on YouTube?
I got a question about that.
Because I love them very much.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, Mihai. And yeah, I know that I have not been doing tutorials on YouTube for a little while now.
Oh dear, that
Did you want to comment on that, Izabela?
That sounded really dull. I promise you, Mike is going to start releasing new ones very soon. Yeah. We're going to be making some change. Mike, why did you switch off your video?
No, I'm here. Look, there I am. But yes, no, there are more videos coming, essentially. The one thing I would say with the current batch of videos, I think there are 200 free tutorials on YouTube now, specifically on how to make audio sound great with Adobe Audition. And I almost felt at the start of this year that it had almost reached saturation point, and I need to approach it from a fresh angle. So, Mihai, obviously you've enjoyed some of the past videos. It would really help me if you had a thought right now as to what you would like to see in the future, because there's a lot of like basic content out there now. Is there something specifically you'd like to see in the future?
Maybe mastering with a jingle or a hit mix with the music and voices and kind of like that kind of stuff.
Cool. So more of the audio production, the sort of polishing off of
yes.
Audio production. Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe how to polish a show, a radio show, would be interesting.
There we go.
Interesting. That's a definitely different angle. I need to give a big shout out. We have Haley and JC.
Yay! Hey, JC!
Hey, how you doing?
You guys are across the pond, so we're doing really well. So we've had United Kingdom, we've had Canada, we've had Romania, and now we have the US of A.
Yay!
How are you guys?
We're doing good. How are you?
Yeah, really good, really good. So have you been here from the start? It seems you have been.
Yes, I have been.
Wow.
Nice. So which one is your favorite new podcast, do you think, is going to be? Well, you can't say which one is yet. But...
I can't say. I like them all. See, now you guys got me pegged down to a daily podcast. I'm glad it's only 10 minutes now because I can lump them all together and listen to you guys all day long.
Well, okay, yeah, that's interesting. Well, we'll see where we go with it. But did you want to add anything to the podcast or tell us about what you're up to?
What I am up to, yes. right shortly here in the next week or so, you guys will be seeing Who's Behind the Mic, which has been slowly trickling out, and we've got a scavenger hunt going on for the podcast movement. And I also been shouting out for the UK Pod 14 conference.
Yay! And also a big shout out to our friends across the pond as well at podcastmovement.com, who will be doing a fantastic national conference in the US in Dallas, in Texas.
Yeah.
Yep, friends across the pond shaking hands all on the same day.
That's it. And you guys have to come over to the UK at some point as well. And I know
We
you've
are. We're
already
trying
been.
to next year. Hopefully, we'll be there.
Awesome. Come to the Isle of Wight.
We will definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, say hi.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us. And where's your margarita? Oh, nice one.
Yay! That's very cool. Right, well, we're just on 1 minute to go, so shall we celebrate? I shall celebrate by
Yeah.
opening this party popper, I think, now, over Isabella. So just excuse me for 1 second while I go and do this on her camera.
I hope it's not going to hurt, honestly. Hang on, I will do the same.
3, 2, 1!
Ooh! I don't think you could see this. Look, I'm going to do one and get.
Whoa! Should we do another one? Let's do another one. Let's
Oh, do one over there. Oh, this is quite cool, actually.
let's wrap up with one final party popper.
There we go.
How do you do these? These are really posh party poppers. Look, this is a twist popper, which it's got an arrow on it. Yeah, you twist it that way, and that's really cool. Usually they just have a bit of string. Here we go. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Yay! Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in, listening in, whether you've been here live with us or whether you're listening in the future. There's one place you need to go to find out more about where you can listen to more content, because this is the last episode in the Music Radio Creative stream, and that's mrc.fm/100. What URL is that, Isabella?
mrc.fm/100.
mrc.fm/100. Thank you for joining us.